Have you ever stopped to think about patriotism? The idea that it is fiercely important to me where the imaginary lines around my country are, what the arbitrary name of it is, and what the people in charge of it, bossing everybody around, call it. That I need to consider everybody living inside of those borders as somehow superior to everybody living outside of those borders. That if somebody from outside of the border comes and moves into the government and takes over, that my life is somehow different, that I should resent that, especially, you know, even if they run the country exactly the same as the assholes that just vacated. Patriotism is another one of those cute little propaganda things they have applied to us. They have taken the whole tribal warfare, my family matters more than your family, so if you steal my food, I get to kill you thing, and blown it up into some abstract concept by which we are judged. If I don't think that those imaginary borders and the arbitrary name and the arbitrary little flag are more important than any other alternative, why, I should be shot dead in the street. I don't deserve to live. I am an evil person. Why? I can value my neighbors, and I can value my governance, and I can value the way my country is run without having to think that I am superior to everybody, without having to think that I have some kind of an moral edge on everybody, without running around waving a flag saying, yeah, that's right, I'm better than you because I belong to this flag. Like, I mean, hey, it's fun. We all get off on it. I know that. It's that team spirit, and this guy's with me, and we're a big community, and we're not alone because we got all of us. I get it. It feels good. And they're taking advantage of that by forcing you to think that that's important, so that when they decide that their industrial war complex isn't making enough money, they can use that as an excuse to run roughshod over your land, to run roughshod over you, your home, your food, your garden, the places you've worked hard to build and create, utterly destroy them, and you will help them do that because it's my country and I must defend it. But I'm sorry. Do you want to know why we all have fools in charge? Because only a fool would take that job. We need governance. We need administration. It's really nice to have someone who can make some final decisions. But that doesn't mean that it should be that important that you die for it. But you see those people, the warmongers, it plays into their needs. They want it that way. And they want it that way because it makes lots of money. The current war in Ukraine is over money. It's over newly discovered oil and gas fields. It is. It really is. It's over money. Okay? Let's see. Now I'm going to recount a video that I will try to remember to paste into the description of this video. Russia had used Ukraine as a convenient place to put all their pipelines through. Because, and this is ironic, Europe can't make it without Russian gas. If Russia wanted to be a dick, they could just cut off the gas supply, and Europe would freeze. Freeze! So all of these, you know, it's a funny thing that they are talking about going to war with the person who's keeping them from freezing in the winter. Like, that's kind of stupid. Hey neighbor, I know I get all my food and fuel from you, but I'm gonna kill your children anyway. Duh. Yeah, so Russia ran all their pipelines through the Ukraine, and when Ukraine became independent, they went, you mean we own all these pipelines, and it's the only route you have to get your gas through? Pay us. And they charged big time. They charged enough to annoy the Russians. It got expensive. So expensive that it was actually worth it to Russia to build new infrastructure through other places. They've actually got one pipeline that goes all the way to England. Yes, Russia heats England under the sea. So, okay, fine. Things stabilized. Russia didn't have to care. But then someone noticed that the seabed around the Crimean Peninsula covered more oil deposits than Saudi Arabia, I think is how that video put it. Anyways, a lot. All of a sudden, Ukraine was capable of using that infrastructure that Russia built so long ago to supply enough heating fuel to all of Europe to cut off Russia, to just undercut them and cut them off. Well, this is Russia's main and possibly only real source of income. So they weren't too thrilled about that. You know, and China doesn't need their oil and gas. Europe is the ones that needs it, and Ukraine was suddenly going to cut them off. So they took the Crimean Peninsula, which, you know, they just took it by force, which then technically gave them the oil wells around it. And they're not built yet. Shell and Exxon were going to go build oil wells. And when Russia took the peninsula, they went, we're out. But believe me, NATO's interest in those oil wells continues. I'd say the oil companies didn't so much say, we're out, as run home to daddy, go, they took it away from us, go get him, daddy. And Daddy Biden is like, oh, World War. And the warmongers behind him are going, come on, man, we need this. We haven't had a good war. We got new tools to test out. We got robot drones that can shoot people in the face. You know. And all of this is going on over the heads of these people that are just people like you and me. War. It's awful. Patriotism. Patriotism is a tool for war. Patriotism is an arbitrary, artificial thing that plays upon our natural tribal instincts. Once upon a long ago, survival depended on the fittest. Survival was indeed about stealing food from your neighbors by killing them. It wasn't the only way to survive, but it was successful enough to become part of our DNA, that we have this tribalism in us, this tribal warfare thing. And that's all patriotism is. It's an artificially constructed sentiment imposed upon us and turned into a major character flaw if you don't have it, because it can be used to trigger us to support their hijinks, trampling around on somebody else's land, stealing from them to get more money for themselves and to spend money on weapons and to eliminate the surplus unemployment. Because all of those people who sign up for the army on account of they can't afford to go to college and there isn't work, where do you think they're going? Do you think they're coming home? And if they do come home, do you think they're going to come home as productive members of society? No. Do you think they're going to come home and get supported? Oh. How many homeless people are veterans? How many veterans are homeless? No, it breaks you. And it sends you back to lay in the street, completely uncared about, to rely and depend upon charity, an unequal and debasing source of income. The government doesn't have to support them. The government doesn't have to give a damn about its soldiers. And they don't. It's opinion time. My opinion is that patriotism is bull crap. I have it too. I'm all like, oh yeah, I'm a proud Canadian, but I'm really questioning the whole concept. So that's one part of my opinion. The other part of my opinion is we're going to lose Ukraine to the Russians again. Ukraine is going to have to subject to the Russians. And if Ukraine really, really wants to be free of Russian control, they're going to have to accept certain business arrangements where they don't try to see how much money they can take out of Russia. Russia's been ripping them off, and it's totally fair that they tried to rip Russia off in return. Because Russia came in, took their country for 60, 70 years, and ground it into the dirt. And was the sole income. And then just on out of there when they ran out of money because their terrible policies just basically bankrupted them. And then Ukraine started like, we're gonna make it, we're gonna get better, and they started building and trying to fix, and they've got a long way to go, and now they're gonna get bombed again. I think we should let Ukraine be raped. We're not letting them. We can't stop it. We can only add to it and turn it into a gangbang by throwing NATO at them. Right now, they got one rapist. We go to world war over this, they're going to be gangbanged. I don't have to worry about YouTube monetization or YouTube promotion or any of that crap because I am too small of a channel for anyone to even notice. So yeah, I'm going to say it straight up. I'm going to use words that the computer listens for. I don't even know for sure if I'm going to upload it. I mean, if you're watching it, I did, obviously, but there's one in this camera that I'm not going to upload because I got too personal on it and I went, nobody cares anyway. Patriotism. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing.